The threat I will be discussing first is the impending influx in wildfires in Northern California. Due to the climate variability of the state and the high frequency of drought, this geographical area is especially vulnerable to an increased frequency and intensity in wildfires. While wildfires have a vast number of possible causes, the primary factor in the case of California is drought. As with most western states, the vegetation in this area obtains a majority of its moisture through the second half of the year, and dries out quite a bit in the warmer months due to a reduced frequency of rainfall and higher temperatures. Northern California is particularly vulnerable because, as a coastal state, it is an incredibly variable climate in regards to wetness, so each year is either marked by the presence of many storms or a drought. With a warming climate and increased temperatures, more moisture is being removed from the soil by means of evaporation and is ending up in the air. This makes for incredibly dry vegetation conditions, thereby leaving forests as vulnerable to fire as simple kindling. The increased air moisture also contributes to an increase in storm intensity and decrease in frequency, meaning less moisture is being returned to the vegetation, thus worsening the drought. As the climate continues to change and become warmer, this pattern is expected to increase, which will inevitably lead to an increase in the frequency and intensity of devastating fires in California. This climate issue has an incredible impact on communities. When in a drought, members of affected areas face conflicts including reduced water supply, loss of jobs and income, increased chances of heat stroke, and even loss of life. While the associated wildfires are thrown into the mix, these impacts increase drastically. As we have seen with the wildfires currently raging in Northern California, communities can be forced to evacuate, they lose their homes, and air quality becomes an issue as well. Unfortunately, there is no one clear-cut way to solve this issue. However, we may be able to reduce risk slightly by working to alleviate our impacts on climate change as a whole, such as with improved forest management.